Hello, welcome to Study Circle. Today we are going to read Class 11th Standard Political Science. Part 1, Chapter 2, Freedom. In this chapter, we will read about how human history provides many examples of people and communities which have been dominated or enslaved or exploited by more powerful groups. But it also provides us with inspiring examples of heroic struggles against such domination. Now, what is this freedom for which people have been willing to sacrifice and die? So, this video is the summary video of this whole chapter. If you are preparing for any teaching exam, then this video is very useful for you. So, we will read only the summary about this chapter. So, without wasting much time, let's start. The struggle for freedom represents the desire of people to be in control of their own lives and destinies and to have the opportunity to express themselves freely through their choices and activities. Not just individuals but societies also value their independence and wish to protect their culture and future. So freedom focuses on two things: trying to evolve principles by which one can distinguish between socially necessary constraint and other restriction. Secondly, there has also been debate about possible limitation on freedom which may result from the social and economic structure of the society. What are the ideals of freedom? In case of Nelson Mandela, for freedom and personal struggle against apartheid, he spent 28 years of his life in jail, often in solitary confinement. In case of Aung San Suu Kyi, she remained under house arrest in Myanmar, separated from her children, unable to visit her husband when he was dying of cancer, because she feared that if she left Myanmar to visit him in England, she would not be able to return. Freedom. Absence of constraint. It is said to exist when external constraints on the individual are absent. An individual could be considered free if he or she is not subject to external control or coercion and is able to make independent decisions and act in an autonomous way. Creativity expansion. It is also about expanding the ability of people to freely express themselves and develop their potential. It is condition in which people can develop their creativity and capabilities. A free society would be one which enables all its members to develop their potential with the minimum of social constraint. Freedom allows full development of individuals' creativity, sensibility, and capabilities. To be free, a society must widen the area in which individual group, communities, or nations will be able to charter their own destiny and be what they wish to be. Freedom is Freedom is considered valuable. It allows us to make choices and exercise our judgment. It permits the exercise of the individual's power of reason. No individual living in the society can hope to enjoy total absence of any kind of constraint or restriction. Now, what are the sources of constraints? Restriction on the freedom of individuals may come from domination and external controls. Such restriction may be imposed by force or they may be imposed by the government through laws which embody the power of the rulers over the people. This was the form of constraint represented by the colonial rulers over their subjects. If the government is democratic, the members of the state could retain some control over their rulers. So democracy is means of protecting the people. Democracy is the means of protecting the freedom of people. Result from social inequality. For example, caste system or which result from extreme economic inequality in a society. Now, what are the need of constraints? Firstly, to reduce chaos in the society. Differences may exist between people regarding their ideas and opinions. So long as we are able to respect each other's views and do not attempt to impose our views on others, we may be able to live freely with minimum constraints. In a free society, one should be able to hold his views, develop his own rules of living, and pursue his choices. Creation of free society too requires some constraints. It requires that everyone be willing to respect differences of views, opinions, and beliefs. Sometimes a strong commitment to belief requires opposing all those who differ from or reject that view. Under such circumstances, there is a need of some legal and political restraints to ensure that differences may be discussed and debated without one group coercively imposing its views on the other. People should be ready to tolerate different ways of life, different points of view, and their different interests, so long as they do not cause harm to others. But such tolerance need not to be extended to views and actions which may put people in danger or foment hatred against them. Harm principle. The harm principle theory was given by John Stuart Mill in his essay on liberty. Mill distinguishes between self-regarding actions, the actions that have consequences only for the individual actor and nobody else. The state or any external authority has no business to interfere. Secondly, other regarding actions. Actions that also have consequences for others. There is some cases for external interference like state which can constrain a person from acting in a way that causes harm to someone else. Only be constrained in special circumstances. As freedom is at the core of human society and it is so crucial for dignified human life, the harm caused must be serious. For minor harm, Mill recommends only social disapproval and not the force of law. Constraining action by the force of law should only happen when there are other regarding actions cause serious harms to defined individuals, otherwise society must bear the inconvenience in the spirit of protecting freedom. Constitutional discussions in India. The term used for such justifiable constraints, reasonable restrictions. The restriction may there, but they must be reasonable, that is capable of being defended by reason, not excessive, not out of proportion to the action being restricted, since then it would impinge on the general condition of freedom in society. Negative and positive liberty. Negative liberty. Minimum area of non interference. It seeks to define and defend an area in which the individual would be inviolable. It is concerned with explaining the idea of freedom from. Negative liberty is the recognition that human nature and human dignity need an area where a person can act unobstructed by others. He argues for an inviolable area of non interference in which the individual can express himself or herself. Now, positive liberty. Positive liberty is concerned with explain the idea of freedom too. Positive liberty discussions have long tradition that can be traced to Rousseau, Hegel, Marx, Gandhi, Aurobindo, etc. It is concerned with looking at the conditions and nature of the relationship between the individual and society and of improving these conditions such that there are fewer constraints to the development of the individual personality. The individual to develop his or her capability must get the benefit of enabling positive condition in material, political and social domains. For example, a person must not be constrained by poverty or unemployment, must have adequate material resources to pursue their wants and needs. Positive liberty recognizes that one can be free only in society, not outside, and hence tries to make that society such that it enables the development of that individual, whereas negative liberty is only concerned with the inviolable area of non interference and not with the conditions in society. Freedom of expression. It is considered to belong the minimum area of non interference. John Stuart Mill, a political thinker in the 19th century, Britain, offered a passionate defense of freedom of expression, including freedom of thought and discussions. He offered four reasons why there should be freedom of expression even for those who espouse ideas that appear false. No idea is completely false. What appears to us as false has an element of truth. If we ban false ideas, we would lose that element of truth that they contain. Truth does not emerge by itself. It is only it is only through a conflict of opposing views that truth emerges. Ideas that seem wrong today may have been very valuable in the emergence of what we consider the right kind of ideas. Conflict of ideas is valuable in all times. Truth always runs the risk of being reduced to an unthinking glitch. It is only when we expose it to the opposing views that we can be sure that this idea is trustworthy. Uncertainty about actual truth. Very often ideas that were considered false at one point but turns out to be true later on. A society that completely suppresses all ideas that are not acceptable today runs the danger of losing valuable knowledge. So now the banning creative freedom. A distinction is made between negative and positive liberty, and we recognize the need for justifiable constraints, but these have to be supported by proper procedures and important moral arguments. Freedom of expression is a fundamental value, and for that, society must be willing to bear some inconvenience to protect it from people who want to restrict it. The long term prospects for banning. Once one begins to ban, then one develops a habit of banning. When constraints are backed by organized social, religious, or cultural authority or by the might of the state, they restrict our freedom in ways that are difficult to fight against. Now, what is liberalism? As a political ideology, liberalism has been identified with tolerance as a value. Liberals have often defended the right of a person to hold and expresses his or her opinions and beliefs even when they disagree with them. Liberals tend to give priority to individual liberty over values like equality. Historically, liberalism favored free market and minimal role to the state. However, present-day liberalism acknowledges a role for welfare state and accepts the need for measures to reduce both social and economic inequalities. So now the interesting point of this chapter is that Swaraj. Swaraj incorporates within two words, Swa and Raj. Swa means self and Raj means rule. Swaraj can be understood to mean both the rule of the self and rule over self. Swaraj, in the context of the freedom struggle in India, referred to freedom as constitutional and political demand and as a value at the social collective level. Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it, is said by Tilak. Mahatma Gandhi, in his work Hind Swaraj 1909, where it states, "It is Swaraj when we learn to rule ourselves." Long Walk to Freedom is the autobiography of Nelson Mandela. Freedom from Fear is the book of Aung San Suu Kyi. Voltaire's statement is that I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to death your right to say it. The book Ramayana told was written by Oberoi Menon. The Satanic Verses was a novel written by Salman Rushdie. So, this is the summary of this whole chapter. I tried to cover all the important topics or points of this chapter. So, if you like this video, then please do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.